Welcome, everybody. It's great to be here, and it's great that you have elected to spend some of your day here with us as well for our 100th episode. Some of our community managers and moderators suggested that we do a bit of a retrospective, talk a little bit about 2 years of Vital Champions, a little over 2 years now, but 2 years and a couple months of Vital Champions, and so I have a lineup of guests today, and a whole lot of stuff to give away. So, which would you like to hear about first? No, but seriously, before we begin, I'd like to thank Dungeons and Dragons for hosting us on the official D&D Twitch. It has been an honor to be a part of this community since the very beginning, and shoutouts to everybody past and present at D&D and Wizards of the Coast who've helped us get to this point. It takes a village. What can I say? And another even bigger, huger shout out to my co-producer Erica for managing the C&E Games account, handling giveaways, moderating probably close to 100 streams. We wouldn't be here if Erica wasn't making that happen. So here we are. We have a lot of stuff to give away, and a number of guests. The first of which will be joining me in about 8 or 9 minutes. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we're getting rid of. I mean, giving away to you. I teased these a little bit last week. These here, Descent into Avernus minis, courtesy of WizKids. We'll be giving away several pairs of these, as well as, oh god, this beast, the Infernal War Machine. That I don't get to keep apparently because I'm giving it to you. So we'll be giving away one of those because we only have one giant Infernal War Machine. So 2 pairs each of 2 boosters, and then one person getting a War Machine and 2 boosters. Another person getting this gem. It's a copy of Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. My first guest actually worked on this game in addition to working on our game, so it's going to be very cool to dive deep into his trauma about what it is to put together such an intense board game. So that'll be fun. We'll also be giving away some some packs of chests and such for a few lucky winners. You will get to choose what you get. We will be, if you win chests through the giveaway, you let us know which chest type it is that you want, and that is the one that you'll get. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to swap over to the game view so you can actually see the code, and then I'm going to turn the music down just a tiny bit because it's like just a little louder than I like. I picked something a little more upbeat for this episode, and it's a little louder than I like. I didn't want something super morose like I normally have because I'm not feeling that edgelordy right now. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we have giveaways every like 20 minutes or so. So the first one will be coming up pretty quick here. In fact, it'll be starting in the next minute, and it'll be for these. Now, if you win something physical from us, which is to say some of these minis or the board game or whatever, you will also get one of these, an Idle Champions t-shirt. Provided we have your size. We should have your size, but you never know. Anyway, so we'll be giving those away, and I'll also be announcing the winner of the D&D Beyond Legendary Bundle that we had available over the last 2 weeks now. Is it 1 or 2 weeks over Glean? Yes, all of our giveaways are global. Now that being said. We've had things get bounced back from different countries in the past when we try to mail them out. So cross your fingers that mail can get it to you. And another thing to add to that, if we are sending you something physical like mini booster packs or a T-shirt, we do need a name and phone number as well as a shipping address in order to deliver it. As it turns out, we cannot mail through our company postal without that. So if you are uncomfortable giving that to us, fair enough. Just let us know. But yeah, that's what we will need in order to send you things. Yeah, it's just it's episode 100. How do we get to 100 episodes? Well, first we got to 99 episodes. In the meantime, I'm gonna set up another adventure while I wait for Chris and get some stuff rolling. I've been trying to get used to Sentry, and I was not expecting to be able to idle to past 600, but here we are. If I'm idling to past 600, then I'm sure Ronan is banned for hitting the ban wall or something. Oh, I'm gonna close that because that's me. I don't need to be directed to me. I am me. I can't actually remember what my formation was, so I'm assuming it's saved. Alrighty, who's my tank? Jam. I think I was probably using Warden. And then I'm just going to dump familiars on all of them so I don't have to pay attention to it. And then I'll get back to talking to everybody more directly and actually reading the questions. You're excited. You must be excited. You're early. No, it's all right. No, pull up a chair. I will swap over the thing. I'm just oh god, I gotta pick specializations. Doing stuff on the fly. I'll let you get your headphones and everything jazzed up. You're gonna have to get a little closer than you want, but that's fine.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Your mic is still down. Hold on.
Hey, look, twinsies.
Yeah, I know. We did not intend to coordinate, but many of us are wearing the same shirt today, so that's not weird at all. It just seemed appropriate for this. That's why I did it. Why'd you do it?
Well, I don't know if you know, but when you're sick, I tend to take over for you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I was out yesterday.
But I was still conflicted over taking over the 100th episode from you. I figured I wouldn't do it, but just in case, I wanted to be prepared.
Which specialization do I pick for Sentry? I haven't used her very much. My assumption is Sentry's Homeland.
Yeah, go with Sentry's Homeland for now. If you wanna up the interaction with Echo and really boost her, you could go with Echo. But she's gonna do her thing. Sentry's Homeland's good for right now because you're just doing a free play.
I'm not gonna get to my wall on stream because apparently I wall at like 650 now. So.
Ooh, nice. I think I just cracked 500.
Oh, you're so behind the meta.
So what's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me on the 100th stream.
Yeah. You're welcome. So what are we doing? We're giving things away.
Okay.
We're talking about things.
Okay.
We're more specifically, I mean, I'm sure people will be asking questions, and I'm sorry, but we'll probably get to fewer questions this time around than usual because we're going to talk a little bit about what a soul-destroying, painstaking experience it is to work on this. We're going to talk a little bit about, what we've really enjoyed about working on the game the last couple of years.
All right.
And who better to start with than the person who came last year?
The new guy.
The newish. There's newer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think when Jacob got hired, I was no longer lowest.
You know,
the totem pole.
The lowest rung on the ladder or whatever. Yeah. So what was good for you? What have you enjoyed the most about working on Idle Champions so far?
What have I enjoyed the most about working on Idle Champions? Getting to connect with not only our community, but the growing community of content creators that we work with. Everyone that we've worked with so far is super duper talented, and it is just awesome to take a small peek into their window of the D&D world. Okay.
And do you have something that you like? Do you have a favorite contribution to the game?
Has to be
of yours.
Spurt.
Spurt. Yeah, I guess you did. You spearheaded all of that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just like that morning. I'm like, yeah, we need to do this. We need to.
We were like, Spurt. Why? He was only on the show for 15 minutes. Why do you care so much?
Gotta get Spurt. Yeah. Spurt is one of the champions I am most proud of contributing to. even though it's always a team effort. But spearheading that and forcing them on the schedule and just being like, trust me, guys, this is going to be hilarious.
So spoiler alert, while we did joke about Spurt on April Fool's Day, we were talking about Spurt, because when was that episode?
January? No.
February, maybe?
It was the end of January. I think it was right after PAX South, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
I don't remember, but it was a couple of months coming, and the whole joke was that we were gonna put out this champion spotlight on April Fools, and it kind of worked out. Like, everyone was like, "Yes, make this a reality." I'm like, "Yay, we did it!"
Yeah, fair enough.
And so when we posted that April Fool's joke, he was already fully designed. He was already in progress. Yeah, because he launched in May, I think.
Yeah. It was a marketing campaign. Like it was a tease, and then like hopefully people like it. If they don't like it, maybe we'll do something else. And people liked it, so
I'm glad, because we already had equipment done and everything.
Oh God, yeah. Could you imagine? This is the worst. You guys suck. And before you ask, because somebody will ask now that we've opened that door, the door is slightly ajar. We do not have plans for any other Critical Role characters or Critical Role related characters to join the game at this time.
Matt Mercer, DM me.
Yeah. I'm not saying we wouldn't do it. We would love to do it. But seeing as though they just sold 2 seasons of a show to Amazon and have 88,000 and something backers to make happy courtesy of their Kickstarter campaign, they're going to be so busy over the next few years that I'd be surprised if they did anything other than those 3 things, like those 2 things and their show, and that's it. I don't even know how they're going to maintain day jobs given how much they're going to have to do at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
Oh, they're 1 shy of 88888. That's annoying. Oh man, I should have backed them. I just, like, the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, they got this.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother.
I think the first time I saw it, they already had full backing. I'm like, oh, good.
CR is only the day job of some of them, Smart Puffin. Like Travis and Marisha, yes. But many of the rest of them are very busy voice actors who are in high demand. So, it's they're busy. The 88,888th backer is Amazon. Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah.
One way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. What can I say? I mean, it should be good for everybody in the sense that you probably want to watch it, and you have an Amazon account most likely, because pretty much everybody does. It's like that free TV channel that you already got. You're like, oh, I got that basic channel. Yeah, Amazon is like that.
I don't know. I got rid of my Prime last year.
What? Why?
I've been pretty happy because that way I don't impulse buy like $200 things every week.
Oh, did you have that problem?
Well, like maybe there was once or twice. It was like a really cool Lego set, or something was on sale and I had to get it.
It's for Kaylee, and then you build it.
Right?
Here you go. Put it up on her.
That happened like 2 weeks ago with the Saturn V rocket. We did have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
did one of you have more fun than the other?
This one right here that spent like 8 hours on Saturday, that I definitely had more fun. Kaylee participated for like the first 45 minutes, and then when it actually became a rocket, she's like, "Can I touch it?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So she's flying it all around and everything. But yeah, at the beginning, she's like, "What are you doing? It's Legos. It's not a thing yet."
Oh, that's funny.
Then I showed her Lego Voltron last weekend, and she's like, "We need to get that."
There's a Lego Voltron?
There's a Lego Voltron.
Oh, wow.
They're individual lions, and they actually connect into Voltron.
All the Lego sets got cool after I had to make robots out of crappy sets that were terrible for it.
But that's okay, buddy, because you're just entering into the Lego world.
Yeah, I guess.
You're coming back. It's the best part. You get to be into Legos and dinosaurs again.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Let's actually talk about the game.
About dinosaurs.
Yeah, that was your proudest moment. Least proudest moment.
Least proudest moment appropriate for stream. Let's see.
Yeah, that doesn't violate an NDA somehow or some other thing that we literally cannot talk about.
Can we come back to that one? I'll give it some thought. Least proudest moment. I got nothing. I've been super excited and super proud about all the stuff we're putting out. I love working with this team, and they continue to raise the bar. And it's awesome when I throw an idea at one of the artists and it comes back like 400% better. I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry, I asked for questions ahead of time so I could prep answers.
What do you need to prep answers for? Just answer truthfully. God, Chris.
What's your least favorite moment having worked on the last 100 streams?
I think every once in a while I stream when I'm in a mood where I probably shouldn't. And, like after the stream, I usually think about it. I'm like, I was more short with people than I should have. And it's just because, sometimes it's just not a good day for it.
Everybody has bad days, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's not something that I've run into recently, I don't think. But there's a couple times there where I was like, after the fact, like, what can I say? Spicy Dylan is spicy. Thanks. But yeah, it's what happens sometimes.
I figured out my least favorite thing.
Oh.
Constantly being behind.
Constantly being behind.
Like, before I walked in here, Alexis is like, hey, did you design those variants for Simro? I'm like, no, I'll do it between 1:30 and 3. I promise. And she's like, I'll get to it on Tuesday.
So, I feel obliged to ask you about this.
Ah, yes. Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. You got to raise it up a little bit. Ooh. So, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is the last board game I worked at Wizards of the Coast. For those of you that don't know, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is a D&D themed Betrayal at House on the Hill. And Betrayal at House on the Hill is one of those games that I fell in love with, and I know many of you probably did too during the first playthrough, because it grabbed that B-movie horror genre and just threw you in the middle of it. And it was so much fun. And I got to work on the expansion, Widow's Walk, and then when they were talking about doing a D&D themed one, I was like, yes, I'm there for this. And it was arduous. It was like designing 50 board games.
Because of all the different haunts.
Yeah, because the game uses the same basic system, but then you tweak it for every haunt, and it was challenging because anyone who's played the base game knows that there's always little rules that aren't clarified, or maybe something that's mentioned in one book that might not be mentioned in the other book. So you got to give it a wide allocation for house rules.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's always just super fun, and so taking on that was terrifying. Because we'd have playtest meetings twice a week for like an hour and a half, where I'd have 3 different haunts for like multiple tables, and so I'd be editing on the fly and slapping rules down like, hey, that thing you're doing, change it. And all of my playtesters were amazingly gracious, and they just kept coming back for more, and it was so much fun. And I'm super proud of the game.
Yeah. But it was the last one you worked on.
The last one I worked on.
So, I guess... Because didn't they do a, what are they called? A legacy version of it?
They did. Oh, okay. So maybe not the last one I worked on, because I was, I'd worked with Rob Davio on previous legacy games. And so when he was breaking the idea for Betrayal Legacy, I jumped into a couple of meetings and participated in that. But I know the overall sort of spoilers for Betrayal Legacy, but in terms of the individual things that happened at each generation, I'm very much looking forward to playing that once I have 3 players in my house that can play.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, you can always do it for Extra Life.
I could do it for Extra Life.
Do you have a show on Extra Life yet? Have you submitted a proposal?
I have submitted a proposal.
Okay.
Do you want to know what my proposal is?
Yes. Yeah.
It is
spicy food.
Spicy food. Robo Rally spicy food.
Robo Rally spicy food.
So we're gonna punish people that take their time filling their registers in Robo Rally with hot wings.
Wow. Definitely not playing that. I'll eat some hot wings, but I don't want to play Robo Rally.
Can I tell you a secret?
Shoot.
I've never had a hot wing.
Oh, what?
Except I think I've licked one once and I didn't like it, and so for the life of me, I've just.
Do you eat spicy food, Chris?
No, not really.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So this is gonna be.
So you get ruined by nothing.
I'm gonna get destroyed.
Yeah. Ooh. I do like spicy food, and I still wouldn't do it.
For the kids.
There's a lot of things I'll do for it. Well, don't say try ghost pepper, because David, who will be on the show later, will actually grow one for Extra Life if he hasn't already.
No, he's probably already growing.
And then it'll show up, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, you said you need a ghost pepper, so here it is, buddy." I'm like, "Oh fudge."
Yeah, Mark's gonna help me with the hot wings, and yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of tears.
Yeah, it happened after I left Extra Life last year, but I did enjoy the highlight reel, which is to say, Dave cut up the video into the segments, and that's the one that I watched. I was like, "Hey, I want to see this," and just people
I want to see all my coworkers in intense pain.
Yeah, just both in pain and like weeping, but also like trying to have fun but tired, yeah, good times.
I'm super looking forward to Extra Life, and playing a betrayal game at Extra Life is a good idea.
Yeah. Like I said, anybody who doesn't have if we have any gaps in our schedule, I'll just play Untitled Goose Game and honk at things. Like,
for sure.
It's great.
Oh my God, it's the greatest game ever.
It's so dumb. I showed it to my wife, and she's just like, "What is this? You're a goose?" And then like 2 minutes in, she's like, "This is actually pretty awesome."
Right? And my wife was the same way. She's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Here, take the controller." And she hit the honk button. She's like, "Oh, I love this game."
And it's like, you just like flap your wings and stuff. Yeah, it's so good. Anyways, what was we had here? Somebody's asking a question about the Vajra patent patron variant, where with Jarlaxle. Mm-hmm. Do you have an update on that?
No. So, well, the update is that variant is not valid for Vajra because Jarlaxle isn't valid for Vajra. So we kind of have a competing list of constraints here. We have, you have to use Jarlaxle, but with Vajra, you can't use Jarlaxle. So either we let you use Jarlaxle when you couldn't, or we limit it to the champions that the patron allows. And so there are certain variants that just aren't available in certain patrons. And this is one of them. Unfortunately, it went out ahead of time. My bad. Sorry. We should have caught that.
I'm pretty sure Ronan finished it right away, but that'd be a very Ronan thing to do.
I thought it wasn't finishable. I thought it glitched out. I thought it.
Well, no. If you can load the adventure, what he did was he used he clicked damage enough to kill the first things, and then bought characters and slotted them in and finished it.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what else we have here? Let's see. We could answer these questions, or we could get Chris to just spoil some things about what's coming.
Is that why you invited me here, for the spoilers?
It is one of the things that people like talking about. Plus, they just, they'll just hashtag blame Chris otherwise, right?
Right. Well,
I guess the last time you spoiled something.
What did I do?
No, I was thinking about when we were talking about evergreens this time last year. No, this time the year before? This time last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
I wasn't here the year before last year.
Right. Well, it feels like you were because you were on the other end of the phone.
This is true.
Yeah. Anyways. What can you share about what's coming?
What can I share about what's coming? All right.
Or what you're working on.
We have a really exciting slate to end 2019. And I can almost hear Justin's teeth grinding right now.
It'll be in like 5 or 6 seconds because there's a delay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He just like that episode of The Simpsons where Marge is grinding her teeth when they're singing "Buy Me a Homer" in the recording studio.
So we've got a new skin and feet pack coming out for Extra Life. That's coming out in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be fun. We're going to do the same thing we did last year, where we'll release a new skin pack. All of the net proceeds will be donated to charity. And this one's going to be a Celeste skin pack, and it is one of my favorite skins we've done so far. She looks awesome. And someone pointed out too, apparently she's kind of hunched over normally, but with the new skin pack, she's standing up straighter, which really hurt for me to do because I kind of got a kink in my neck. But
do you want me to show that skin pack? Because I think you already gave it to me.
Dude, let's show it. Do you have it? Oh, you got it. The Healer of Toril. Da-na-na.
Just catch up her levels so that she's not dinging away there.
Yeah, Adam and Alexis worked on this, and they did an awesome job. She looks super cool. But that's going to come out on the 20th, and for the first week of it being out, we'll be donating the net proceeds to Extra Life and BC Children's Hospital.
It's PC Children's Hospital Foundation.
Oh, I apologize.
Apparently, you don't just donate to the hospital; you donate to their foundation.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna swap her out for Course because Course is way better in this formation.
Dude,
What?
I'm trying to talk her up, and you're just like, nah, it's cool.
I showed it off a bit, but it's suboptimal for me to use her in my quad formation. I'm not gonna do it.
Let's see. I got one more spoiler I can do. Would you prefer an upcoming event champion confirmation, or would you prefer an evergreen champion confirmation? See how I'm leaning it on you, and I'm letting you take the brunt for this?
I don't like. Do you want me to say? I could say what I know is confirmed.
What do you think, chat? Event or evergreen news? What do you want? Let's see. Evergreen. Now, we did in the middle of a raffle.
Yeah.
Why not both?
Yeah.
You guys are greedy. Come on, I can't spoil everything. Evergreen.
Oh,
Okay.
apparently, they want to know the evergreen one. All right.
So our next evergreen champion is definitely for sure going to be. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't say definitely. Justin's going to murder me when I get back. Is going to be Dragon Bait. I'm sad to say, as I worked out the rest of the schedule, that Dragon Bait is not going to be able to make the window for 2019. He will not be released in 2019. He will be released on January 1st, 2020.
Q4 2019 plus one.
Q4 of 2019 plus one.
Yeah.
That's our target. January 1st, 2020 is also when the office is closed. So that is our goal. We may slip a day or two, but that's what we're doing. That's the plan.
So why January 1st?
Because that was the first update that I could fit him into.
Oh, okay.
It's been a busy couple of months between feats and wild offers and some other stuff that might be coming.
Yeah.
It's been a busy time.
Patrons. Patron challenges.
Yep. New
Okay.
champions.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to get Justin for the stream because he's probably should be at home. He's actually kind of pretty sick.
Yeah,
he
no.
seems pretty sick.
He keeps sniffing as he's typing. It's like every four
Keystrokes.
Keystrokes. Thank you. That word was hard. Every 4 keystrokes, it's another sniff.
I'm just observing all the people.
Going for betrayal.
Misspelling betrayal.
Aww.
There's a few misspellings in
Hey,
there.
when you got to type it in quickly,
Yeah. Yes. We were pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? That doesn't sound bad. We were pretty. I guess wishy-washy about the dates of our evergreens up until up until I guess technically now, but relatively recently when we were like, okay, yes, it's in our schedule. It's in our schedule now. Do you want to talk a bit about because we get asked about it constantly?
Yeah, sure.
Talk a bit about why that can happen.
Absolutely. So when we work on the schedule and we work on what's coming, we have our regular cadence of an event that goes for 2 weeks, and then we have an off event where we normally do an update to a campaign, a system update, quality of life updates. Like we try to mix them up, but we also try not to space them out too far, because when you hit Descent 1, you don't want to wait 6 months to play Descent 2. Like, you want to continue the story and not have to feel like you have to be reminded all the time. So we want to make sure that we regularly have content coming out. We want players to play new content all the time, and Evergreen Champions are new content. Unfortunately, with new system updates, with resource crunch on art and tech side, it's been challenging, because what is normally a content update basically increases about a week of work when you include a champion, because the champion has to be drawn, all the equipment has to be drawn, the champion has to be designed and then implemented from a tech side. It's about a week of work for the teams, and slotting that in when we're constantly trying to put in new systems and constantly trying to upgrade and fix bugs. Unfortunately, that's the easiest thing to slip.
Yeah.
So that often is what happens. It just slips because there's other pressing priorities for the game and for the players. So do I want Evergreen Champions to be over a year between releases? No, but we're doing the best with the tools we have, and I'm trying to make sure that people aren't working till 9:30 at night.
And like, do we have or do you have a plan for a more consistent cadence for evergreens moving forward?
I feel like I should, so I think I'm going to put that into my planning doc.
Okay.
So right now we're focused on as you know, we have the studio closure for Christmas.
Yep.
We're closed for about a week between Christmas and New Year, and so as you know, but our fans may not, an update to the game is about a month and a half long process that goes through a pipeline. It starts with design, then it goes to art, then it goes to tech, then it goes to QA, then it goes to release. So at any time, we're working on 3 to 4 different updates at a time.
Yep.
And so to take a week off from that process definitely puts a bit of a crunch on our production schedule. So what we're doing right now is we're kind of scrunching things together so we can get everything that we need done before Christmas, and everything's queued up for during the break and just after, because what we don't want people to do is come back from the holidays and realize they've got a week of work to do in 2 days. So that's the focus right now, and then as we clear the holidays, we'll focus on getting back into the regular cadence of updates and hopefully more regular Evergreen Champions.
Okay. We had people asking whether or not we do, whether or not we use an agile pipeline or some other stuff. We got a whole bunch of questions, actually. We haven't really been doing them because we've been talking about our own thing.
Yeah, we're just sitting here shooting the stuff.
Yeah. So if you have a suggestion, we're probably not going to read it today. But if you have a question relevant to this here guy who handles our live service design and is responsible for Dragon Bait taking so long, please.
Blame Chris.
Yeah. Please shoot it our way. Yeah. Why only 2 more years? Smart Puppet. Oh, no, it's just because, we're 2 years in, so 2 more years.
So I saw a question. Can you scroll up?
Which one?
Scroll up. Oh, you already answered that one. Did I miss that one?
Yeah, it's because we've already addressed that topic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Other high roller characters. Our current one is Sentry. Are we gonna do Nova or Lucius next? I haven't decided whether we're gonna do Nova or Lucius yet.
I don't think they are. I mean, so they're like loosely in the calendar, but they're not. They don't have a fixed date for either of them yet.
Normally with streaming groups, I'll flag the event we want to focus on that group, but I don't normally lock in the character itself until we get a little bit closer because it's so dependent on the creators' timelines.
Yep. And I get the impression that Chris and Kim are busy.
Yeah. I don't know why, but why would they be busy? Besides,
well, like,
I feel like
Katie works at the company that we coordinate with in order to do stuff with high rollers. So like getting in touch with her and lining up her schedule was pretty easy because it was part of her job. But Chris runs a production company.
Ah, okay.
So that'll keep him busy. They're also, Chris and Kim are the ones that have done a lot less travel as part of high rollers. So yeah, I just got the impression that they are busy.
See, I disconnected from social media recently. So now, 5 months ago. So now I feel like I'm always a step behind whenever we're talking about anyone because everyone's like, oh yeah, they're in Italy or such and such because everyone shares everything.
Oh yeah, Clive stalks them, so that helps. He's like, oh yeah, I tried to reach so and so, but they're blah blah blah. And it's like, how do you know that?
Right?
Oh, it's what it said on their Twitter. Oh, okay.
Before it was like, oh yeah, I saw that, but now it's like, whoa, dude, whoa.
Yeah. Alrighty. Plans for more Dragonborn or Tieflings?
Yes.
Let's see. Is there any question to make a new role for speed with Sentry, Deacon, Shandy? I guess like a speed tag.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. One of the things I was thinking about is we started talking about Sentry and being another speed up character. That's definitely something that was in the back of my head. I don't know that we're gonna add a role though, but that's definitely something we could do if we want to key off of it with other characters.
Sorry, I'm just double checking the scheduling because we have 3 guests. So normally I just let somebody hang out as long as they want.
Yeah, I'm happy to
make sure.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes till.
5 or 6
kick
minutes.
Me out?
Okay. Are there any other shows that might get characters that you can talk about?
Beyond Heroes. Our current shows that we're working with are Beyond Heroes, Acquisitions Incorporated, and High Rollers. I think that's everyone right now that we've announced.
It's everybody right now that we can talk about.
That's right.
Yeah. Spoil the event champion. The event started yesterday, so no, we're not going to talk about what's coming in the next event yet.
We're not? Okay.
No, so it'd be one thing to say so-and-so is coming with Winter Shield, and it's another thing to say, like, hey, we're talking about Sentry and Rhiannon and all this stuff, and it's like, but also we're going to talk about who's coming right after them because it's, I don't know, it's a little unfair to the cool people that we get to work with. So
True.
That's the biggest reason why we don't do that.
That's a good point.
Because yes, the next 2 champions are locked in.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to say necessarily who they are. Plus, you guys chose Evergreen, so you missed out on Chris spoiling who one of them was.
That's true.
So
I gotta hold that one close to the vest.
Yeah. Plus, you gotta get that one right, or we're toast.
As you continue to remind me, every time I get a note about that, I'm like, oh boy.
Well, you saw the note I sent you last. I was like, well, this is confusing. Spoiler, I read Dragonlance books, not Forgotten Realms books. So a lot of information about a lot of these characters is new to me. So, yeah.
Well, especially with characters from such a long book line, their allegiances and alliances shift so often.
Yeah.
It's
Who's that character?
Yeah.
Didn't that character die? Oh, they didn't die. Oh, they came back. Oh, oh, they're this now. Oh, Punt's a vampire. Oh, he's dead. Oh, no, now he's a spirit. Oh, he got resurrected again. It's just like, jeez.
Is he a vampire? No, he's buried in long saddle. But what about the horn? And it's like a ethereal aspect of him. It's fine.
Yeah. It's also I imagine it's the reason why we pick a snapshot of a character. It's like, this is the character at this point.
Yeah.
So
that's absolutely why we do a snapshot, because we learned pretty quickly that trying to encompass the entirety of a 20-year, 30, 40-year-old character that has had so many different iterations is impossible. There's no way you're going to be able to do that within the constraints of our game and without making them just the most OP person in the game. So that's
Slot 13 win.
So that's why we really try to focus on a key or core moment or period for the character, so that way we can really key into a specific aspect as opposed to just trying to do the entirety of the character and just failing.
Okay. It's we don't need to expand on that. They've heard enough about characters, right? They don't want to know anything else about champions.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, what else do we got? What else can we hit off quickly?
Let's talk about variants.
About variants? What kind of variants?
I don't know. I didn't really have anything to go with. I just decided to speak and things happened.
Giant Dwarf. Can we get Todd Kendrick's wife's character for the Valentine's Day event?
Oh, Sophia's?
Sophia's. Todd Kendrick's wife is Megan, by the way. And she's very nice. I'm trying to remember what we're doing next year. Oh, I remember what we're doing next year.
Yeah, Sentry's Ultimate. I love the Flame Lance. Echo turns into the elk, and they just kind of
cruises across
the screen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's funny because I'm usually playing with speed potions, so I don't really. I just see like the fires briefly there.
It's a fast move even without speed potions. So on speed potions, it's on super fast.
Yeah. Alrighty. Any spoilers on the next big feature?
Justin will murder me if I say anything about that.
Okay.
And I would prefer not to be murdered, especially before Christmas.
It's true. It's a real downer.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Please slow down the animations on Sentry's Ultimate. I can't see the elk. It's funny that... Yeah, okay. What about new familiars in the pipe?
There are currently no new familiars in the immediate pipeline. I think we've, between the first round of familiars, the new round of familiars, the familiars that'll be available in Wild Offers, I think we've got enough familiars out there. So no immediate familiars. I reserve the right to change that decision at any moment. I need a familiar for this one.
Let's see. That's a just question. I wouldn't worry about that one. Will there ever be any Dragonlance stuff in the game? Probably not. Who owns the rights to Kryn right now? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'd be curious.
That's part of the problem with Dragonlance.
I wonder if it's
so far back.
Well, it's not just that it's far back. It's like, yeah, because they were published by, I want to say, Tor Books.
Oh.
God, it's been so long. Anyways, I'm pretty sure they're not owned by Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. So,
yeah, I don't know.
If that's the case, then yeah. Anyways, I would say it's probably unlikely. Anyways, It's Dragonlance. This isn't Idle Champions of Dragonlance or Idle Champions of Kryn.
But we do have characters that come from other planes.
I know. I was just trying to give you an easy out so that you didn't say that part. It's like, yeah, we do actually take characters from wherever we want. No, it's not wherever we want. I wish. That'd be cool. More Dark Sun. But, yeah. What?
I don't know.
You look like you're about to say something.
You're going like full, like, what about... You're
yeah.
going full...
Yeah.
Full fan.
I wanted us to put the Lord of Blades in, but we weren't allowed. They're like, no Lord of Blades. I'm like, but he's awesome. We need a Warforged.
And then you just made one up.
Yeah. And I'm not unhappy with the one that we made up. I just
their event is coming back around.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's isn't it Simral?
Yes.
I could have sworn it was because I
Yes.
was working on the variants. By 3:00, Alexis.
Yeah. Also, and that'll be one of those variants will be where you get a Hex Gold and Epic, right? Warden and Dadius the Scarlet are in the next event with a very, very cool, also another champion.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to run away before I spoil any more things. And
Yeah.
It looks like the hallway's clear.
Yeah,
Justin's not going to be waiting to jump out at me.
Yeah, no. Just poke David and remind him that he's got to be here in 5 or 6 minutes.
Will do. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being around for 100 streams. Thanks for checking out the, 3 of them that I took over from Dylan.
No, I think you've been in at least like 10 by now, haven't you?
I don't know. It's been
more than 5.
It's been a few. It's always a pleasure to hang out and chat with folks.
Because I had PAX East and my honeymoon like back to back, so I was gone for like 6 weeks.
That's true.
Yeah.
But either way, thanks for hanging out today. Hope everyone's enjoying Sentry, and we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the next couple of months.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
He's there.
Now Justin's standing.
He's there. He's like waiting right there. I'm in trouble. I'll send you Dave, not Justin.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. I know there's a lot of questions coming in that we're not really getting to because we're just kind of talking about a whole bunch of stuff. But my apologies. I can't see the name Dylan without thinking of a line from Predator, which I shouldn't say in stream. You can say that Lazarus 101. My friends used to say that all the time. They'd come up and they'd be like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. And then they'd put their arms up. And then we would muscle shake, but I don't really have big muscles, so I can't do that. Anyways, I'm going to change the name here for my next guest. Plunk. It's funny because the way you edit this is we set it up so that you have text files to edit for each one. So I just have to do it that way and save the files, and then it changes it in the stream. So this empty chair right here is David Whittaker, who will be joining us shortly. It appears that Wizards of the Coast owns Dragonlance. Oh, interesting. Anyways, I guess, so that brings us to another thing in that. First, we have a lot of really awesome characters from the Forgotten Realms novels that we haven't addressed yet, haven't added to the game. At least one of which is coming before the end of this year. If we started dipping our toes in, the world that Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman created 35 years ago, whatever it was now. You know, it's hard to justify. Now, name one Forgotten Realm character more iconic than Raceland. Well, Raceland Majir is a pretty iconic character that's not in the game already. Elminster of Shadowdale. I was going to say Mordenkainen, but I guess he's a Greyhawk character. Kelvin Blackstaff was pretty iconic. How about... God, how do you pronounce his name? I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. There's an assassin character in the Forgotten Realms that's more iconic and known than Raceland. Certainly been in more books. There's a lot of good characters. There we go. Source posted a nice list. Manshoon. Ooh, Manshoon would be a good one. Halaster Blackcloak would be an interesting one, although a little bit powerful to use as a champion. Didn't Weiss and Hickman write the original Curse of Strahd? I think I can't remember exactly the thing, and I know it actually says it at the beginning of the Curse of Strahd book. There's a foreword from Tracy Hickman, I think it is. Anyways, there's a lot of Forgotten Realms characters. Raceland Majir is awesome. His brother Caramon, not so much. Tanis, a little generic for me. There's a lot of really iconic characters. Kitiara. There's some pretty darn cool characters in Dragonlance. So it's unlikely that one ever shows up, but you never know. I mean, it's just we got a lot of characters that we would like to include that are actually just from Forgotten Realms novels. I mean, how many books has Ed Greenwood written, and how have we had included none of his characters? Right? Like, there's just tons. Yeah. All right. What else do we have? Wyverny Win. Why does the logo for Feast of the Moon have the holy symbol of Shargos when Shargos isn't involved in the plot and it's a Jurgal currency event? That is a great question for Adam, our art director, who will not be joining us on stream, but I'm going to make a note. Adam, why did you do that? With this lore snapshot discussion, does that mean Doctor Who is coming? Oh, God. No. The closest thing to Doctor Who that you have is Averin, who is a trickster semi-deity, and that's probably as close as we'll get. Bard tank when? It's an interesting idea. You're just trying to get to that all bard formation. It seems unlikely. What else do we have? What about the new gem familiars that were once promised to come with the new stream familiars and the familiar quality of life, both of which have already happened? So as you've noticed, Aaron247, those updates have been staggered out. Our hope before was to have one update where we added a whole bunch more familiars and the familiar saves and familiar functionality and so on and so forth. And we've had to split that work up because, as Chris was mentioning earlier, we tend to be working on a number of updates at a time because of our development pipeline. And it takes time. That being said, let's see. I'm trying to think of. I know that familiar saves and some other quality of life stuff for familiars is in development now. I couldn't tell you when it's coming because that could take some time. But I will poke the team again about this because, that's something we want to do. Any clues on the new hidden codes? So there is one for the stream. I am not going to spoil it. It may be found. It may not be. It'll be something that somebody says over the course of the stream. In terms of the 10 hidden combinations, the latter part of so there's a pattern that was started with the first 10 hidden combinations that has continued in the second 10 hidden combinations. The second round is significantly more difficult than the first, which is to say, the stuff that ties to different champions is a little bit more little less direct, little less obvious. So, yeah. Have you ever considered multiple slot, super powerful champions? Oh, that sounds like an easy thing to implement, right, Dave?
What are we doing? Why are we doing it?
We're going to start implementing champions that take up 2 or 3 or more
Yeah,
formation
absolutely.
slots.
Not even adjacent slots, right? You put it down, you get 3 slots, one in the middle, one at the back.
It just
Really?
just
Yeah.
takes up a whole bunch of space.
All
Yeah.
right. Is this on?
It is now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. It occurs to me that you're the one who manages to get out of being on stream more than anybody else. Except for
Really?
Eric. Yeah, yeah. Eric hasn't been on since the beginning of 2018. But yeah.
I always thought it was Justin who was like, no, I'm too busy.
He says that, but we managed to drag him on stream more frequently.
Or I was on last week or something like that, some
Yeah,
excuse.
yeah. He hasn't been on in the last little while. Last time he was on was to talk about patrons, I think.
And he's holding out for today.
Yeah, well, in fairness, I don't want him sniffling beside me right
That's
now.
true.
I'm still getting over something. You're still getting over something.
Yeah, I dragged something back from BlizzCon.
Yeah, it's just kind of how that goes.
Actually, this is the first year that's happened for me anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Usually I come out free of anything, really. And my luck ran out, I guess.
Did you touch a keyboard that everybody else touched or something?
Oh, multiple keyboards that everyone else had touched, and mice as well, and those headsets, you just have to question.
Oh God, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit back from the comfort of the office couch and just watch watch the introduction. Yeah. Oh, Bio 4 D&D. How was Diablo 4? How was it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looked much like a lot like Diablo 3, but it looks like they've got a more. I mean, I guess if anyone saw the preview stuff, they're going for a more dark gothic look, which is something that I like. So,
Yeah,
Pretty
it looked
good.
like a Diablo 2 skin on Diablo 3.
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, personally, I was a fan of the first one more than any of the others.
Yeah?
And the gothic portions of 3. So,
Yeah. I really enjoyed 3 as a game. I just found it was a little bit more power fantasy and a little less dark. It was just less dark.
yeah, it was a lot less dark.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Would you add a champion from Ready Player One by Ernest Cline? So I don't know that Ernest Cline knows the rights to any of the characters he used in Ready Player One. They made that film. Did you watch that movie?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And Steven Spielberg's legal department spent 2 years getting the rights to characters that they were able to use in that, and they weren't able to use all the ones in the book. Yeah, that's just crazy. Although in a way we're kind of doing that with our game in that we have all these different champions from all these different shows and books and comics and other games and other board games.
Anywhere we can get them, really.
Yeah, yeah. So, kicking things off, what, we're kind of talking a little bit about what it's been like to work on this game for 2 years.
We've been working on this for more than 2 years. That's
True. Oh, sorry, the game's been out for 2 years. Well, a little over 2 years.
Yeah, we're coming up on 3 years.
3
working
year
on
for
it.
for you. Yeah.
So what are we saying on that?
Yeah,
It's been 3 years.
I guess.
Was it? I think you were going with Soul Crush. What was that you were saying earlier?
Yeah. How much time with soul crushing? No, but seriously, you've been working on this for a while now. What's a highlight reel? What's it been like for you?
I mean, it's been a long process for sure, and from a technical standpoint, at least, because that's sort of what I'm spearheading, and with the first section there would have been sort of getting the tech ready to move into something new, and we've done that a couple of times now because we did first the main the Steam game, and then we did the console versions, or I guess we did the tablet versions, and then the console versions, and then I think the release on that was. I'm getting this out of order, aren't I? When did we release the tablet versions?
Q2 last year. Console Q4 last year.
Right.
And I can't remember how mobile came about. They kind of they rolled out as we got approvals or something, so I can't remember exactly when they arrived.
Oh,
yeah.
Justin's giving us a stare down.
Yeah. I'm not sure what he's shaking his head at now.
So the rollout to each of the different platforms certainly has had different technical challenges on it, and then the WebGL portion was a really big piece because that was a complete rewrite. I guess it's sort of it's not rewrite per se, but more of a complete total conversion, because we started with the Unity systems, which are all C# and Unity, and then actually just getting it over to web meant that we had to have a completely different engine, we had a completely different code base, a complete conversion over to JavaScript, because everything in WebGL is JavaScript. So that was an interesting challenge for sure. And it turned out, it was one of those things where, having never done any sort of really wide, like large scale WebGL project before, and never having seen that much JavaScript in one place, one actually wonders if this, is this even going to work? And so, it turned out better than imagined as far as the performance is there. In fact, one of the surprises when working on that one was that the actual iteration between edits was faster than Unity, because the browser loading up the JavaScript and loading the graphics took a substantial amount of less time than the Unity editors are doing its recompile and then launching the game for testing. So, so it's like in Unity, you make some changes, you come back, you wait, it recompiles maybe 10, 15 seconds if you're lucky, then you can start, and then the game starts, and it takes 10 seconds to get into the game. So you're kind of on a 30-second iteration.
Yeah.
And the WebGL one, maybe 5 seconds and you're back in the game. Just make your change, hit F5. So that was actually a lot more pleasant to work in, which was a nice surprise.
So I guess on that note, it's been a lot easier to work on WebGL than on Unity.
The iterating pieces have been. It's had its own challenges, because JavaScript is not a compiled language, so it's not type checked. So you can make mistakes that are harder to track down, because it doesn't tell you that you've typed the variable wrong, or if you've accessed a property that's actually just not there. So it means that you have to be a little bit more careful, especially when converting stuff over, because there was different naming conventions. And so we'd have things that were named slightly different, and you wouldn't notice it until something wasn't working quite right, and you'd be looking through and be like, oh, I missed I was using the Unity convention, or I was hoping that, lowercase x here, uppercase X there. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
that sounds like a nightmare for my brain. I just nope.
yeah, you have to have really high attention to detail.
Okay. So what was what were some of your highlights in the last couple of years, 3 years?
That's a really tough question. Highlights for that. Definitely each of the launches were a highlight for me. Definitely, when you get the tech finished and everything sort of come together and it's all working. Definitely, at least from a development standpoint, and then from highlights and just a running of the game standpoint. Going to PAX each year has been a real highlight for me. You get to see everyone who's sort of interested in the game, and then obviously this year, crazy ass, what was it? Was 7 foot by 7 foot gelatinous cube for those who were there and saw it.
Yeah,
that's certainly one of the more interesting things that's sort of adjacent to the actual development of the game. Sort of how do you build one of these? So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
What about anti-highlights? Well, what was something that you can talk about? That was a challenge that you.
I think there's something that definitely stands out as sort of the worst piece was Apple. Specifically their forced update to iOS 12, and they made a bunch of changes to the way the memory management footprint worked, and all of a sudden the game on iOS, the crash rate tripled, because the way they were managing, the way they were attributing how much memory you'd allocated, I'm not exactly sure how it changed internally, but I know it was basically doubling the amount, which meant that sort of you have a texture and the texture is 10 megs in memory, and all of a sudden it was 20 megs in memory. And what that meant, or at least it was 20 megs reported in memory, and their internal memory accounting is what actually will terminate your game if you get too high. So it says, hey, you're using up more than you're allowed to, and therefore, boom, kill you before you interfere with any of the OS or any other applications that are running that are more considered to be more critical. Obviously, more critical than your game. The OS is a little more critical. And so because of that, it resulted in quite a bit of issues with people who were running on older devices, and it ended up resulting in quite a bit of time spent on trying to optimize that before eventually getting it to a place where sort of an in-between, but we didn't really quite overcome that. And then the latest iOS apparently has fixed a lot of that. But I know there ended up being like Apple denied there was an issue with that, and then we ended up contacting the Unity people, and the Unity people contacted them, and there was a bunch of back and forth on the Unity forums, and eventually they came to the conclusion that yes, there is an issue here, and we don't exactly have a solution for it. And then they had some sort of interim provisioning they did so that it would work a little better before they got the most recent update out. But that was a bit of a pain for sure, and it ate up a lot of time that could have otherwise gone to other development. So.
Yeah, it's. I think that this one of the things that I find in chatting with players on a regular basis is they always want to know how long. How long until whatever it is coming, or why did X take so long, or why is it's trying to get an idea of just why what seems on the surface to be something that either is a minor fix or something that's quick to put together is not. It's neither of those things. It seems to be one of the things that comes up a lot.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things where, from an outside perspective, often the things that are the easiest to do seem like they might be more complicated, and then things that look like they're going to be, or the things that are, they always seem to be inverted. Something sounds easy actually means like, oh, well, the system wasn't designed for that, so that's going to be a major changes across the board, or something that actually sounds complicated might actually be something that, due to the design of the system, actually was not difficult to make happen. So it's really hard to put your finger on it, though. And without having like a full understanding of the whole system in your head, it's hard to guess. We're like, oh, this is going to be easy, or this is going to be difficult.
I have no idea. The closest thing I can relate to is I used to work in events and just putting on an event. And it's one of those things like, well, I don't know, like you put some stuff on stage and people go and they check it out and they leave. And I'm like, no, it took a dozen people each, 500 to 1,000 hours a piece to plan this thing out and make it work. And, it's just,
there's way more moving pieces than that.
Yeah. Complicated stuff. Do you have, I can just picture Justin coming back up to the window and glaring again.
No spoilers.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff we certainly can't spoil.
And some of the stuff we've been working on lately, like the most recent month stuff, we can't mum's the word. So.
Yeah. Is there anything related to Idle Champions that you are looking forward to tackling down the road that you can, in some way, address? Like what excites you about what you can still accomplish?
And what we can talk about. I mean, the thing we're working on right now seems that it's going to be quite interesting, and it's a bit of a technical issue, it's a challenge, but I can't speak about what that is at this point, and I can't even give an ETA on when that stuff's going to get done. And other than that, and maybe that's just myopic of like we're working on this, is. Nothing's coming to mind from a technical standpoint. I mean, we're getting into a sort of a maturing level of the technology at this point, because as I suppose, been working on it for about 3 years now. I mean, what is it? November 7th? Yeah, we just barely started about 3 years ago around that time. So it's in a good place, and yeah. Nothing's coming to mind that's sort of immediate after the stuff we're working on right now. But someone will think of something that.
I don't know. It's been a while since anybody asked us about more display resolutions and stuff. So there's always that.
There's that. Yeah, it's certainly one of those questions that actually sort of fell off. I'm not 100% sure why we stopped seeing that. I know I ended up getting a 4K monitor just to work on that, and then we never got it done. But it worked as a good excuse to pick up a 4K monitor. So
well, I mean, when you need an excuse to buy hardware.
You have to. It's not that you need an excuse. You just have to have a rationalization of some sort. You can't just, It has to be. I'm only getting 200 frames a second, so I need that extra TI to get myself out to 244.
I may have done that recently. Yeah.
And you upgrade one component, and then the next component has to be. It's all interconnected.
There are literally only 2 upgrades left I could get for my board without having to start all over again.
Right, and then you got a new board, and then it supports higher.
Well, there isn't a chipset available that is better than what I can put into my board right now. So I can put a 9900 or whatever in it if I wanted to, and I might before the end of the year, because as it turns out, my CPU is my bottleneck for my GPU now.
And then it'll be the GPU again, and then it'll be the RAM.
Yeah.
And then you'll jump ship.
No,
and
the,
go
the
all
RAM
AMD.
the RAM already is, but it's something that you can only notice in a handful of types of games, like massive open world games like World of Warcraft, where if you're in a highly populated city, how fast your RAM is matters in that game. It doesn't in like hardly anything else ever, but it does in that.
Yeah, I can't say that's something that I've been taking any time to measure. Like,
RAM clock
Yeah, is
speeds?
this having an impact
Oh,
on
God.
my frames per
Well,
second?
I
Should I
have.
be getting more RAM?
Yeah.
Or I guess not more, but faster RAM. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, but I'm not going to invest in faster RAM. If I get to that point, then it's at the point where I'm actually just going to build a new system. I feel like the RTX 2080 Ti is going to last a little while, so
Been a little bit of an overkill.
yeah. But yeah, i9 9900, yeah, why not? I thought about the 9700K. I was like, pfft, I could just go 200 more and get the bigger one, and I guarantee that it's not going to be a bottleneck for my GPU. Even though they perform identically in games, like there's no difference.
You don't need all those extra cores.
But I want them.
That's what we'll do for the next performance improvement for Crusader or for Champions. We'll make it multi-core.
Multi-core?
More multi-core rendering. See how we can push that up.
See how much of a CPU we can use.
Yeah. Let's just cap out all those CPUs. Look, you bring up the task manager and see the cores and just be maxed out on all 16 cores.
Oh, that's funny. Before we go too far down the hardware rabbit hole.
Did.
Well, no, I was going to say, it segues into like the biggest reason that we tend to buy a lot of physical stuff around here is actually for Extra Life.
That's true.
As I look at the corner that is full of stuff.
Yeah, it's coming up really soon.
Yeah. 2 weeks and a day.
Yep. Not
2 weeks from tomorrow.
not next Friday, but the Friday after that.
Yes. Yeah.
We can pull this streaming stuff out again. The cart's behind me, or in front of me.
It's in front of you. Yeah. There's nothing. There's a void behind you. Yeah. What are you excited about Extra Life wise? You get exciteder than many.
Well, I mean, it's always an opportunity to start playing with all the different streaming equipment they have. It's always it's an excuse to learn how some of this stuff works when it's not really part of your day job, which has always been a fun part of putting like this streaming stuff together. I mean, I think at this point we've got at least half the staff have a production they're going to do. I think you're going to do
excellent.
something, and we've got some D&D planned, and we've got some board games planned, and we've got some Rock Band planned, and I think there'll be more Beat Saber, which should be cool. We're going to be setting up the green screen for that and see if we can get some more mixed reality stuff going on.
It's the real reason that we have expanded the studio space.
yeah,
It's actually
absolutely.
for the Extra Life production, not for anything else.
So it should be a lot of fun.
Cool. It's funny. I was just thinking about Extra Life. What's your show? I mean, I'm assuming you're doing a co-founder Q&A again.
Yeah, we should be doing something like that, and then I'll be doing the Beat Saber again and just helping out with anyone else's production as need be. I assume you'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna embarrass myself in a game that I used to be good at right off the bat, and then probably play some D&D at some point. Actually, I never did ask about any of the D&D things that have been set up by Clive and Alexis, so those might actually already be full. In which case, we're actually planning on finishing the Office Curse of Strahd campaign.
Oh yeah,
as part of Extra Life. Not on stream because that campaign's been going for so long that the RP gets pretty intense, and like none of us are comfortable with doing that on camera. But yeah, we're talking about wrapping it up. There's a cool module that module change. I don't know. Module seems like the right word for it. That Joey over at D&D Beyond put together. That's like Strahd Must Die Tonight. It's a way of condensing Castle Ravenloft into a one shot.
huh?
So that we could wrap up our adventure in an evening instead of weeks of playing through third dungeon that's in that book.
Huh.
So because it took us months to get through the Amber Temple.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
Step 1, everyone gets a level up. Step
Yeah.
2, everyone gets another level up. All right. Let's
yeah, no, we've hit our level cap.
Oh, okay.
Adam has told us that he's not awarding us any more levels. Like no matter what we're doing, he's like no more. So yeah.
Cool. That should be fun. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how long that's going to take you guys to finish up, but
I don't know. It'll take what it takes, but yeah, I imagine that's what we're going to be doing in the evening.
you might be there all night.
That's extra life. So if that happens, it happens. Yeah. What else can we talk about? How about an old question? Any chance of frontmost HP bars somewhere? Somewhere better. I like that. That's funny.
The overlapping question. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a good one from Hirama. What was the breakthrough when you knew the game was going to work and be a success?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, we were working on the model that we had from Crusaders coming into that, so we knew that in general that this was something that players liked, and that was a fun concept just in general. I mean, I think that the biggest change from that we did with Champions was having the actual combat occur, like actually having the players attack, because in Crusaders it's just a number. It's just your DPS number, and it's uniformly applied to monsters as they come out. And so it's with the actual characters, jumping out and actually attacking things. And then I'm looking at your screen here. This is no blood splatters on that. I mean, the blood splatter is added.
So I have screen shake, blood splatters, and something else all turned off when I stream, just because there's some people with sensitivity who watch. So yeah.
Anyway.
Don't get me wrong, the distractions still die and splatter.
Yeah, and I think it was at the point at which when we had the characters jumping out and actually like killing the enemies on screen that we knew that this was going to be a good iteration from our previous model on that. And then it's one of those things that sort of as the game progresses, we always continue to make and change features and abilities and effects and different ways things interact with each other. So we knew it was going to work once we saw that combat piece working. But just it continues to get better with every iteration of the ability and effects. And it's one of those things you just can't predict how all those things are going to interact.
What else do we have here for questions? How do I convince you to donate something to me, a code or something that I can use to raise money through Extra Life? Canna Dutchian, send an email to clive@codenameentertainment.com asking about that. And we will see what we can do. Alrighty. Oh, here we go. I've read that you guys don't have cross-platform saving for Idle Champions because of your workforce limitations, but are you getting closer to be able to take on larger projects like that?
I'm not entirely sure where you would have read that. I mean, we don't have cross-platform saving simply because there's a number of restrictions across the platforms that don't all let us they don't want us to do that. And it's against their policies on a number of platforms. Not all of them, but enough of them that it would become a bit of a confusing mess for us to actually allow some in some places and not others in other places. And so it's just something that, based on that, we decided wasn't something that we were gonna do. So
it's a little different when you're pulling in Fortnite money. They're like, yeah, we want a piece of that, so do what you want.
Yeah, I mean, sure. And Epic can go to Sony and say, listen,
yeah.
But that's not something that we can do.
Yeah. All right, what's this about? Do you have to use JavaScript, or do you have to, or can you work TypeScript into your tool chain for typesetting?
I mean,
I don't know what that means.
For people who aren't familiar with JavaScript and TypeScript is a layering on top of JavaScript that allows object typing, and then it compiles down to JavaScript. It's something that we could have done. For some of the tools that we're using, they didn't support it directly, but it was something we could have used. But it is something that we didn't choose to use. Yeah.
Can we implement keyboard and mouse support for consoles?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's something that I'm actually not 100% sure what would happen if you did plug a keyboard and a mouse into your console and tried to use it. I mean, that would be something we'd have to actually check, because I don't think it's disabled directly. I know in the console, if you switch to console UI on Steam, you do still retain a number of that functionality.
Not everything, but a bunch of it.
I mean, the main question there would be, is there enough of a demand for that from players? Because there certainly would be some edge cases that would have to be covered that aren't directly supported. So yeah, I mean, that would be something that we could do, but players there'd have to be a sizable portion of the console players saying, hey, this would be really useful for us to have. Otherwise, it's hard to dedicate time to it.
Yeah. So like for that thing, for just that whole topic in general, when it's either an extremely small or just a handful of players requesting a specific feature. How do you? I mean, you've been doing this for 10 years now. How do you know when enough players are asking for something that you're like, okay, I need to get this done?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. There's kind of a balance there in terms of how complicated adding a particular feature is. If there's side effects on it that would make the experience, say, worse for another handful of players, if it was added. For something like this, it certainly, it looks to me like it would be something that would have some minor side effects, or not side effects per se, but minor cases that wouldn't have been accounted for. And then it would be a question of, like I say, how many people actually would benefit from that. And I think the main point there would be actually seeing people request it on a regular basis, tickets coming in asking for it, questions on the forums or Reddit or Steam forums, for example. We just kind of watch it and see how many players would be saying, this is something that we're interested in. I mean, we sort of just do it by feel based on how often and how many we see coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we see something like that come in and it's a question of like, actually only small people are asking for that, but we actually think it would be beneficial to lots of players.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually an improvement to the system. So we do it based on that too. And so something like a keyboard and mouse support on console seems pretty niche because most people, at least to my knowledge, don't have a keyboard and a mouse hooked up to their console.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure that that's really an advantage there for most players. So it wouldn't be something to be like, oh yeah, this definitely should be there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be more of a case of like, okay, I can see a couple players who do that and it would be an advantage for them. But we'd have to have enough players asking for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then an easier question. Do you have a favorite champion in the game right now? Either from a design or an art standpoint?
Yeah, that is a good question. And I would have to say right now, I've kind of slipped a little behind on the most recent ones that we've pushed out. And it's been focusing on more tech-related stuff. So, no, not right now. Not of the more recent ones.
What about an older one?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I've actually... it's really hard to choose, actually, for a favorite. I would say I have a favorite. Anticlimactic answer, sorry.
Well, I mean, mine's Warden, but that's my go-to answer.
Well, I mean, I'm feeling there's a bit of a bias there.
Oh, there totally is. 100%. Yeah. I can't read text on my 1080p screen because it's only a 12-inch screen. I need to make text bigger.
I mean, that's a tough one because we're really limited by space. And when you make the text bigger, unfortunately, usually that means it's outside of the bounds of the UI space. So unfortunately, that one we're really tightly limited by the amount of space of the UI. So we don't have a good answer for that. Because if we made the text bigger, it wouldn't fit in the boxes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if we made the boxes bigger, they'd cover up the play area. If we cover up the play area, then you can't see what's going on.
It reminds me of, did you play God of War on PS4?
I actually don't have a PS4. That's the one system I don't have.
Well, apparently they have another system coming out next year, so don't worry about it. But when God of War launched, the text was tiny. And like people playing it on their TVs, like, wow, this is actually really like. Yes, it looks nice on a 1080p screen if you're this close,
Right.
But if you're playing on your TV in your living room, which most like PS4 users tend to be, you can't read anything. It was really tiny. But it was like, it wasn't something they could easily fix. They're like, we can make it a bit bigger with the UI as is, but that's what we can do, like because their whole UI was done. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've run into when playing PC games on a TV. Because that's one of my preferred ways to play the Steam games is to have a system hooked up to the TV in the living room.
Yeah.
And I know a particular problem with the text in The Witcher, where I couldn't read the
Yep.
I couldn't read the response text because it was too small.
Yeah.
Because it was very evidently not designed to be played on a TV at 8 feet away.
Yeah. Somebody in chat's like, the Outer Worlds text is tiny too. It is. Yeah. I did enjoy that game though. I did play through that last weekend or the weekend before.
Yeah, so far I've got about 20 minutes in, and I haven't been able to get back. I haven't found time to get back to it.
It's fun. It plays like a Fallout game, except doesn't crash constantly. What? It's not a dig at Fallout games, especially
Kind
if
of
you
a dig
played
at Fallout
if you
games.
played Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, you knew to save like every 30 seconds because the game would die so frequently. Never mind the update to fix all the bugs in Fallout 2 that killed people's save files, so they had to start over. That was ruthless. Yeah, but it happens.
Additionally, a bad roll in combat and you were dead. So saving every successful shot was important.
Yeah. But the same sense of humor, a lot of the same jokes. I'm pretty sure the same people wrote the Outer Worlds that wrote the earlier Fallout games. Anyways, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It plays like New Vegas. What can I say?
No, that was a great game. So
yeah, it was a good game. Let's see. I mean, we're running out of your time here. What if you could choose an everlasting flavor for the roof of your mouth? What would it be?
Oh dear.
Water.
Yeah.
Then it wouldn't mess with anything else.
This is a complicated question. This is like chicken-sized horses or something.
Let's see. Need a good one for the last one. If you see a question that you want to answer out of for your last one, let me know which one it is.
There was a leak where saved formations saved familiar locations. Any ETA on that?
So yeah, what that was some of the stuff that Graham is working on snuck its way into a build, but it was glitchy.
Yeah, no, I remember that, and then it being rolled back. I mean, I had to do the rolling back, so I remember. Yeah, I'm surprised that we don't have that. That hasn't been pushed back in yet. I'll check into that. I think the ETA on that is soonish would be what I would say. Yeah.
Is that Blizzard soon? Valve soon?
That's the code name soon. TM. We're gonna work our own one here.
Yeah.
Get a reputation for that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was actively being worked on, and it wasn't something that it just slipped in early. So it just needs to be the state of that just needs to be checked, and then we can see about getting that out soon.
Half-Life 3 soon. Half-Life 3 is never coming. Oh my god. Half-Life 2 was in 2002? Was it 17 years ago? Yeah. Like, it's not coming.
They said Duke Nukem Forever wasn't coming either.
It's true. And when it came, you're like, it shouldn't have.
That's the risk for Half-Life 3, right? Like, the expectations would just be so high.
Well, yeah, the only time I've ever seen an interview where Gabe Newell talked about it, he talked about the expectation around it in that he's like, the first one and the second one came out timing-wise, were able to, have really important new things to say and add to first-person shooters as a genre and all this stuff. And he's like, it's been so much time that like everything about the genre has evolved, and they don't know that they do have something new to add to it now.
And then additionally, like from a graphics standpoint, Half-Life 2 came out right with DirectX 9, right? That was the programmable pipeline release, which meant that all the shaders were. Oh, that was really the first time that games had shaders, aside from the ones that were.
And they deliberately demoed them with the design of the game, in that as you went through the game, you saw them gradually introduced.
And then physics as well was a big step in there too, right? This was physics and shaders. It was a huge step up. So, and aside from just being a great game overall, it had a huge technical leap going on there.
Yeah.
And one that we haven't really had since. It's sort of been more of a crawl.
Ray tracing, Dave? Come on.
Yeah, that's it. You can see around the corner and the reflection in the window. I'm not really sure how helpful that is. I'm not rushing out to make it part of my system, but
yeah. Well, I can tell you that it halves your frame rate for no visual difference that you can see.
You can
in
see
the
around
vast
the corner
majority
in the
of it.
reflection of the window.
Sure, but it's less useful than you would think. But I do think that if anybody's going to introduce it in a smart way, they should just have all their cutscenes use it, and that's it. Like, it's in the cutscenes, and then in the actual gameplay, it's not there.
Well, I mean, rumor was Valve was working on a first-party VR game, so maybe that's something. Maybe they'll have something there, but probably won't have ray tracing because you can't do that
In VR. Yeah,
it's
no.
required.
God, that's a nightmare. Anyways, thank you for taking time out of your afternoon.
Absolutely.
And
should I? Eric is 5 minutes from now.
Yeah. So you can peace out if you like. You can
Will
stick
do.
around if you like. I know you got stuff to do though. You're busy.
Fun things.
And it's not just us talking about hardware right now, so.
Yeah.
Oh, but if you want to come back
We
after,
could do that
I totally
for an
will.
hour. Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming in. I'm just gonna drag that down just in case it picks that thing up, and get it ready for numero trois. So we actually haven't had Eric on for a long time. He was on our first ever stream in October 2017. And he was in the first ever stream of 2018. And that was the last time. He's managed to avoid it since. Now, in fairness to him, he is busy. He is our CEO. He does travel a lot. Like, there's a lot of reasons that he shouldn't be on our stream. He should be able to join us shortly. And it's we're pretty excited. Now, which giveaway is this one? I think this is one of the bigger ones, right? Let's see. It is 2:25 p.m. So, today is for the right. This is for the gold chests. All the gold chests. Which is why I can't read the chat, because it's spamming away. Alrighty, sorry if this has been asked, but what went into the decision to make Sentry into the gold finding champion slot but have no gold finding buff? Well, slot 4 is slot 4. It's not a gold find slot per se. It just to date has had champions that all have abilities that help with gold find. But I mean, before the last event, we didn't have any dedicated support champions in slot 11. And it's just kind of one of those things that it's a loose rule, I guess you could say. It's one of those things where we try to limit some of these things into these slots, because if we, for example, we had a gold find slot champion in every slot, well, it would kind of trivialize starting an event or a new campaign. If we had tanks in every slot, then you just pick the best one, and you gotta make sure that there's a reason to have to make choices. So yeah. Sentry is the first champion without any gold find related abilities in slot 4. She's also the first tank in slot 4. So yeah, we're pretty happy. Any plans for adding Artemis and Treri from R.A. Salvatore's books? We'll get there. Megiddo, did you guys investigate compiling to... Oh yeah, I don't have that information. That would be a David who just left question. Sorry about that, Megiddo. Will you ever consider adding permanent buffing like Zorbu or Black Viper on all champions to make us focus on our favorite ones? So I mean, the permanent buffing that exists on all champions is increasing the item levels of their equipment, right? And obviously there's diminishing returns once you reach a certain point, but there already is that. Are we planning on adding something similar to Zorbu's favorite enemy, or Black Viper's red gems sort of system to all champions? No, we're not planning on doing that. There is Zorbu is pretty powerful right now. There's a chance that he needs an adjustment, given that his DPS scales indefinitely. But again, it reaches a point, and then there's diminishing returns from there on out. So, it's something that may pop up more, depending on how much we like it. But we'll see. Yeah. And on that note, we have our last guest. Yeah. What's all this? Oh, your props. You brought your props? Are you giving your props away?
No.
You're showing them off.
I brought him in for Clive, but I just happened to have him here because I didn't know I was going to be on stream until a few hours ago.
What is this?
So, we're not talking about that yet.
I want to see what it is. You put it down in front of me.
Well, I had to put it somewhere, and you've got things everywhere.
Well, it's true. We generally stream.
Things. Yes, hello, everyone.
Eric, welcome.
No, thank you, Dylan. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Hey, you've managed to
I'm
get
a
out
long-time watcher,
Yeah.
first-time caller.
Well, so it was the first week of January 2018 was the last time you were on stream.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Feels
Sorry,
like,
last time you were on our stream. You were on the
I've been
stream
on-
at Founders and Legends
That was.
and, some other stuff. It's Satine's birthday plane thing.
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Big takeaway: it's hard to play D&D on a plane.
Yeah, I guess, like, do you just roll and it all, like, slides to one side? Or
Oh
like,
gosh, well, yeah, you had to have dice trays to roll into, of course, because otherwise the dice go flying, and and you don't have like a lot of table space. So, I mean, I think Satine was smart for that particular event where she was like, okay, this isn't like a high RP thing, so combat starts. Like you showed up with a character, and then it's like you're just in combat, and you just went.
And so they just improv what you were fighting the whole way through, or do they have a plan for it?
No, she had the the Gale Force 9 monster cards, and was like, here, draw one of these, and that became the monster that you were fighting.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're mysteriously transported into kind of a gladiatorial arena, and there's, you see yourself and a couple of other characters that are all there, and so you got to all fight. So yeah, I got to play D&D with Patrick Rothfuss. I've always been a big fan of his book, so that was fun.
Oh, cool.
And Stefan from Dwarven Forge. I've been a big fan of Dwarven Forge. So.
Picorni? Is that how you say his last name?
I'll go with Stefan. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. So what I've been asking everybody who comes on today is just like sort of what has it been like to work on this game for the last, I said 2 years because that's how long we've been out, but Dave's like, no, it's actually about 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, well, so what has it been like?
3.5. I mean, for me, because I was part of kind of the early ideas that this might be a good game, and then the putting together kind of the initial sort of presentation materials and stuff to talk to wizards about it. And so it's been kind of living in my life for a long time now. So sorry, other than time, what's it been like? I guess great. I mean, definitely nerve-wracking. Not so much because I doubted our ability to put forward a really good game. Like, I felt pretty comfortable about that because I think we are good at what we do, and I'm really proud of what the studio can do. But I've loved D&D for so long that we were right in the last little bit, right before we launched, someone was asking me, I was driving Kat home, and she was like, oh, we were talking about it, and I'm like, well, I'm worried that there's going to be people out there who feel that we've just done a terrible thing to something that I really love. Like, they just don't see the vision that we have for the game. Yeah. And so that was my single biggest fear. And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people in the world. Not everyone will like what you do, and I can accept that. But thankfully, on balance, most people have really enjoyed what we like and the art style and kind of the take that we brought to Dungeons and Dragons. So that's been just incredibly rewarding, actually.
Okay. And then, short list of highlights.
Short list of highlights.
Yeah, highlights from the last 3 years, I guess.
Let's see. I mean, lots of different things. I mean, it's super fun getting to be a licensee with Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast. And so the first day you were there when we walked onto the set that would become Waterdeep.
I had it in the slideshow earlier.
Yeah, that first day was really like, oh my God, I called my wife and I'm like, I'm on Waterdeep, and she was really pissed. But so that was certainly just an incredible moment. Setting up the gelatinous cube and just getting to have people experience that. I mean, myself getting to experience it, a full-size gelatinous cube. And I mean, we thought it would be we thought it would be easier than it was, so we were dumb on that. But I didn't realize how emotionally powerful, both for myself as well as for, so much of the PAX West audience, the gelatinous cube would be to people. The number of people who would be touching it and being like, oh my God, I first died with one of those, or DMs were like, the first time I killed one of my players was one of those. But like, just so much kind of resonance around, kind of a silly sort of monster. So,
we have a winner to announce.
Oh, yay.
This person won a D&D Beyond Legendary bundle from us.
Oh, awesome.
I was wondering if you wanted to take the shot at pronouncing their name and where they're from.
Oh, no.
I put the pronunciation there.
Oh, wow.
But if you don't want to, that's fine. I got it.
Is it Paytar?
Uh,
Is that how you say that? Paytar? I'm terrible at pronouncing names.
Oh,
You've literally
yeah.
put me in the worst spot. Thank
yeah.
you, Dylan.
Well-
I'm never. It'll be another 100 streams before I'm on again. You're
fair
dead
enough.
to me.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't the most interesting guest, anyways.
Pitar from Osij in Croatia.
There we go.
Someone from Croatia won the D&D Beyond Legendary bundle, and so we'll be responding to Pitar, and
Yeah.
it's spelled Ozijek, but apparently that's not how you say it. I actually listened to it on Wikipedia before
Oh, wow.
I looked
Oh,
up the pronunciation because I looked at it. I'm like, there's no way they say that the way that I read it. It's Osij.
Well, that's like I love books, and for my personal tabletop play, looking at like, I don't know, there's kind of like a picture in my head of being like a DM, kind of like a wizard with this big spell book, and it's kind of like the Dungeon Master's Guide or Monster Manual's like my spell book.
Yeah.
And so I love books, and I've always loved the books, and I love books in general. But I find when I'm personally DMing that D&D Beyond is just great. Like it's both actually for my prep as well as for playing. At this point, it's so kind of part of my process. So yeah, a legendary bundle from them is like awesome. So 'cause I assume that's like all the stuff, all the legendary.
So the legendary bundle from D&D Beyond. So we gave away one of these or maybe two of these before in the past, like years ago now. Yeah. And it was like $300 worth of D&D books digitally. And now it's closer to 600
Wow,
US.
yeah.
It's like 580 US, give or take.
There you go.
Because you get everything.
Wow.
Everything
Oh,
that's available in their
so
store.
awesome.
So
Yeah,
it's about
yeah.
as good as it gets.
Yeah, and it's super useful. I find if you're
Yeah.
running games, I find it really helpful. So.
Yeah. And I think it also comes with a discount on all future product.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
So-
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
congratulations, Peter. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that before I forgot to, because I'm like, it's 2:36. I'm like, we got 20-ish minutes left. I'm like, oh, I should announce that winner,
You should do it.
because we also have more giveaways.
Yeah. Swag. Oh.
Yeah. We are in the midst of a giveaway for 42 gold chests of any kind that they want.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually,
feel like I
that
need
winner
one of
was
those.
probably just announced. Actually, now that I think about it.
One of those glitter guns.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Elfigris got it. And then the next one is the last one. The next one's for this thing. Ugh.
Dum-da-dum.
Yeah. This thing.
Hold it this way, I think.
Yeah. Plus a pair of these. Oh, wait, no.
There you go.
Other
Can't
camera.
See it.
Uh,
Yeah, it's super big.
Yeah. It's actually got some heft to it.
Yeah. This is the WizKid stuff, right?
Yeah.
Super awesome.
Thank you, WizKids.
Yay, WizKids.
So that'll be the next giveaway that'll start in 8 minutes or so.
Okay.
And then we'll be wrapping up the stream with that winner.
Okay.
You gave us highlights. I've also been asking everybody about their anti-highlights.
Yeah.
If you have any of those that you can actually talk about.
I can. Well, yeah. I mean, I think for me, the last bit before the launch is like very stressful. So that's never particularly fun. But because I'm not directly involved in development, I'm more support and helping people and making sure everyone's doing okay. So, some of the direct, I'm there for a lot of hours, but I'm not the one who's got to crank out like a million kobolds and stuff like that, like some of the folks on the team were doing. So there's definitely was that. But then after we launched, I was spending a lot of time traveling, and I was adding it up actually. I spent, I think, the equivalent of like about a third of my working time on the road.
Yeah.
And I was going to PAX and D&D stuff and all sorts of things. And so I was traveling a lot, and the game was still, we were still kind of learning a lot, because it's not like a premium game. You just put it out and it's kind of done. Because it's a live service game, and we're really engaging deeply with the community, and we're really, that first bit for us is like a learning curve on kind of like just what kind of makes sense and what's the right cadence for things and how a bunch of different structures work. And so we're kind of going through all that. And, I think a privilege that I have in my role is getting to be kind of an interface point and going out and talking to people. And that's, I think, one of the greatest sources of information back into kind of the company is sort of talking to people. So I was traveling a lot. I was talking to people a lot of kind of like thinking and all that kind of processing stuff. And I have to say one of the hardest points about that for myself personally was I've got 3 teenage boys at home and my wife, and I was involved in this world of Dungeons and Dragons, but I really wasn't getting to share it with my family because I was traveling so much. And that was that kind of schism between getting to do some really cool stuff, kind of like I was joking about the, phoning my wife from the Waterdeep set, but kind of also sort of pulling me away from my family at that time was really tough. And then as things sort of stabilized into the second year and we started doing the PAX shows, I've had my eldest son, Darius, has come and worked at a couple of the shows. He's been with you for West, and he was out at East with us. My son, Sasha, was able to come to West just to hang out with some friends that was there. My wife's gone to the last couple of Gen Cons with me, and so I've been able to involve my family in this kind of like incredible experience that we get to have. And so that's kind of brought those two worlds together. And then as you well know, I'm running 4 intersecting Dungeons and Dragons campaigns at home. So I'm playing like a lot of D&D at home, which is really nice. So that part was kind of out of balance, it felt to me, for the first, sort of a year-round launch in there, and then that's kind of come into balance, which has been great. But when it was out of balance, that was hard.
Yeah. So you mean, just to ask about the 4 intersecting campaigns. At some point, somebody has to find the hoard, like the treasure, right? So is it which group finds it first? Like how does that work?
No, yeah. So for those who don't know, I have 4, like I said, teenage boys. I'm running a campaign with each of them and their friends. Though one of them kind of sort of one of my boys moved schools, and so we're getting it going with a new set of kids around with friends from new school, and then my wife and some of our friends. So my middle son kind of did my modded version of Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Everyone else is set in Waterdeep, but I didn't want them to have to kind of have competing objectives between the groups, and so each of them have different issues that they're kind of dealing with within Waterdeep, and so that way I didn't have the issue you're just sort of mentioning of like who gets the treasure first. It was one of the things I was thinking about.
One of them gets the Stone of Galore, the other group steals it from that.
They're all like, no, and I don't. One of my table rules, it's just like how I like to play, is I don't want my players to work against each other. I prefer it when I as the DM am creating the conflict. That I want the players to all trust each other, and essentially I kind of want a similar thing between my different groups. I didn't want to pit them against each other because we're ultimately 5 of us all live in the same house, and so I want to be aligned. So so Sasha's group is the one that did the Waterdeep Dragon Heist. We finished it. A few months ago now, maybe 3 months ago now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they finished it, and got. I'm not sure how much spoilers we can talk about. Anyways, so they finished it with one of the kind of canon finishing endings. Which set them up quite well. So they didn't get all the money, but they got enough that they're in a good place. So they're actually now in Undermountain and busy exploring Undermountain. And actually it's actually fun because Undermountain is of course mega dungeon and sort of pretty much a pretty classic dungeon crawl, which we haven't done, and Waterdeep is for the most part not that. So it's actually been really fun just to sort of do a dungeon crawl.
The closest thing to a dungeon in Waterdeep is like Growland Manor, which is a 2-floor house.
Oh, Growland Manor, yeah. You should do that, and I mean there are some other areas that can kind of go that way, but.
Arsenal Magus wants to know if we have any plans to visit any of the European conventions.
I don't have any plans at this moment. I was, so if we do, it would be as an attendee at this point. Usually we sort of scope the con out first. But I was actually, right before coming in here, just looking at sort of my Q1, Q2 schedule for different things and kind of going, okay, what ones have we committed to? There's some other ones that we haven't done in the past that I'd like to kind of try out. So I was just actually starting to sort of figure some of that out. So maybe, but certainly not as an attendee. You'll at least see us, not as an exhibitor at first. You'll at least see us as an attendee before. Go to GaryCon. Stay tuned on GaryCon. That was one of the ones I was just looking at. So yeah, Luke is great. I got a chance. I guess the first time I'd kind of seen him around at various things, but we didn't get much of a chance to chat until Satine's birthday. And then, I was down for Founders and Legends, which was really awesome, and got to play D&D with a bunch of people who are actually actors for the most part, unlike me.
Professional actors.
Professional actors. Yeah, it was funny because I knew we would all be introducing our characters. So when I was doing that, I kind of had a thing I was gonna say, and Luke's like, "Oh, Deborah, why don't you go first?" So it was like Deborah Anwal was like 2 people over from me, and so she did this like incredibly awesome intro for her character, and I'm just like, I trained for I'm good at what I do, but that's not being an actor or such in the game. So.
Yeah, you're not used to emoting for camera.
No, yeah, totally not my thing. So.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hirama asked what stage of the development process was Wizards of the Coast involved, which I think probably you can speak to because the pitch was you, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we kind of had worked on this idea. We thought it'd be a really great fit with Dungeons and Dragons, and as sort of probably comes through, I've deep love for Dungeons and Dragons, and really. We kind of prepared ideas, but it wasn't until after Wizards was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. We'd love to hear more," that we kind of then started really doubling down on it. And so from that perspective, really all from the beginning. So other than the kind of preliminary thoughts that we had done, once they were like, "Yeah, that's good," then we, started putting together a more detailed pitch, and then through the entire development process, we'd have weekly or sometimes more than weekly calls. So lots of iteration with them.
Trying to think. We did that. You talked a little bit about what's coming up next for you as much as you can.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when you're like, "Oh, come on stream," I'm like, "Oh, there's a lot of things I can't talk about." Right?
Yeah,
Looking backwards, I can talk about that.
Well, that ends. I think one of the things that players would always like for us to be more transparent, of course. Because why not? I mean, I appreciate it as a player of other games too. Like when but we have this like blanket of NDAs that like covers a section of how we can interact with D&D and the community. That often prevents us from talking about things.
Yeah,
very often prevents us from talking about things.
Yeah. Or there are things that our business is entertaining people, and so. An aspect of entertainment is the value of surprise, right? And so, it's fun to spoil things, and Chris can kind of spoil some stuff, and then Justin can beat him up. But a lot of times that we don't talk about that, partially it's kind of fluid, but partially it's also kind of fun to sort of like surprise people with things. Mm-hmm. So actually at home, we have a new rule at home, because I love making physical props for my D&D games at home. My personal Twitter is more or less just all of these D&D props that I make. And my wife, I'll show her because I'm so excited, something for one of the other kids or something. And she's just like, "I don't want to see anything because you might use it with us, and it's really it's so fun getting at the table. I don't want it to be spoiled by you just being so excited about it. So I'll make a thing that I'm super excited about at home, and then I can't share it with those that I love because not because it won't be shared, but because I'm waiting for the moment where they find it in the adventure, and there it is, and then poof, there's the big reveal." So So certainly some of it is confidentiality and stuff like that, but also part of it is just kind of the business of being the dungeon masters for our game and kind of wanting to provide an experience that's got surprises and exciting things that are going to happen for players.
I just remembered I forgot to change something.
So
ignore the fact that I'm writing right now. Because I'm like, well, that'd be awkward. So do you, at what point in the process are you sharing it on social media? Do you share it before you've used it with your family? Because then another audience gets to pay attention? Or is it after you've...
I know some of my players and stuff follow me on various things. So I end up usually waiting. I brought... Clive and I are both running Mad Mage, Clive at the office here, and I did up some props for Sasha's game because they're in Mad Mage right now. So I brought in some copies for him just by fluke. I happened to have them today, so I could spoil those because I have them here. Actually, though, I brought more stuff, and I'm like, okay, we won't spoil these, but here's a couple things that I don't think are too spoilery. So
Yeah.
So I have physical props, if you're interested in physical props.
Yeah, I am. I saw that you came in here with some.
If our streaming audience are interested in physical props.
Oh, they don't have a choice. I mean, it's our content.
Oh, no. They might be like, I don't want to listen to that. So, or they're busy talking about magic beans, so.
I think that's what
The raffle,
Erica
so.
made the raffle code this time. Yeah.
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 Well, props. There we go. Okay,
Props.
so props. Okay, so if the kind of keyword here for the kind of stuff that I enjoy making is paper ephemera. It's a name for collecting, like if you wanted to collect a letter from Churchill, that would be a paper ephemera. And so I've always liked like old indentures and contracts and stuff, just actual real ones. And then, printing technology has gotten better, way better over my lifetime. And so making fantasy ephemera is something that I deeply enjoy. It just makes me happy. So I have, I have 2 different sets of props here. These are both, because Mad Mage, as I was mentioning. So one of the things when I'm making a prop is I really like to think about what the story of how that prop came into being. Like, so what's not just make the thing, but like who was creating it, and why were they creating it, and how were they creating stuff like that. So these
That camera.
There we go. Ooh, there's one, and this is. So I made like several of these things. There we go. And I'll post ones on these. I haven't actually used these in my games yet, so probably in another maybe this weekend they'll start seeing these. So so these are ads for the Goblin Bazaar, which is on the 2nd level of Mad Mage. So not a huge, it's not like hidden or anything like that. And so because it's not hidden, I thought it would be super fun to kind of make up ads. And like, what kind of ads would a goblin do? And I'm like, well, they probably don't have access to good paper. So this is actually just the shipping paper that Amazon includes in stuff you ship. Mm-hmm. So that's all this is, though it was too thin for my printer, so I had to tape it onto a harder piece of paper to go through.
Yeah.
And then I did up kind of this sort of text, tired of Skullport's high prices. Yak the Tall's Goblin Bazaar, cheaper and better deals for you each day. I tried to come up with some awkward languaging, like, open every day, closed no days. Auction hall with slave auctions coming soon, which is part of kind of what's going on. So minor spoiler there. But, so like it's this kind of really thin paper. I then ran so I kind of put together all the stuff and found a font and then ran it through this processor that kind of created it. So I wanted it to look like a wood block kind of on these. And the pieces of paper are all different sizes, partially because it was this Amazon stuff I had kicking around and sort of a hassle to kind of print on, but it kind of gives it this weird sort of feel. So I was very happy about that. That was one. And then my other prop, let's see. Okay, so this one, not sure how much you can see that hard disk.
Yeah, it'll catch a lot of light, so it'll be hard to see. Well,
there we go. Once again, you can maybe back here. Anyway, so this is a limited liability adventuring company operating agreement. And there's a group of adventurers that you meet in the, one of the things about going into Undermountain is you meet other adventurers who have gone before you. And so there's a group that you end up interacting with in Mad Mage. And there's no actual, neither of these are things that were called for in the book, but I just thought would be fun to add for my players. So I kind of thought the idea of like the Scribes Guild in Waterdeep producing these kind of pre-prepared contracts that then there's sort of this like pretend kind of writing on them where they kind of fill them in and then the people sign them and stuff like that. And it was a way to kind of introduce the different characters that are in this group that they end up interacting with. So that was another kind of fun thing that I put together.
Now, how much of this is actually writing and how much of it's printed text? All this stuff looks like it
once again, it's all kind of thinking about the history of the document. So this one, there's a font. So I do all of my stuff in the incredibly expensive and hard to get Google Slides and Google Docs. And so everything is like, I don't know, pretty simple. And then just I use a few just online web things I upload photos to do processing, like the woodblock stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, so there's I Am Fell, I think is the name of the font, that is kind of a nice sort of like printed kind of font, and so I'm like, oh, that's a good kind of, feels Forgotten Realms-y. And then I use a different font for their handwriting that looks kind of handwriting-y and stuff like that, and then a different font for each of the signatures. There's actually a signature place that I usually go online. They just insert a name, and it does like a funky signature-looking thing. So yeah. But yeah, I'll throw all those on my Twitter, probably after the weekend when people get a chance to see them. But yeah, so
okay,
there you go.
Apparently they're having trouble figuring out how to, as they wait for the last our last giveaway.
Yeah.
They're looking for the last hidden code for the string. So I put one. I'll have one that you actually just written on the screen, and then I'll put another one in that is harder to find.
I love that we actually have the hidden codes. I mean, it was one of the things I remember. Shortly after you joined the company, there's a meeting, Clive, you and me, talking about things that we could do. And one of the things was, wouldn't it be great if we kind of have there's codes, obviously, that we tell, but codes that were hidden in the wild for people that they have to kind of deduce. And wouldn't that be such a fun moment when someone, just finds it? So, I love that that is.
And it's a fun moment.
Fruition.
It's a fun moment when you let them know that it exists. And they start trying to figure them out, and then they find ones that you didn't realize you forgot to disable that are really old. Because we had to go back and
questions here. You've got a highlighted one.
Oh yeah. What would you do for a flyer by a sentient mimic who is running a B&B?
Oh gosh, sometimes I've got to do a bunch of research on things. That's one of the things that. Personally, I love about working or playing, not working, this is all home stuff, but running games in Forgotten Realms is there's so much both canon, but also just additional kind of speculation that all the fans have done over the years.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'd spend a bunch of time reading about mimics probably and asking myself, why are they running a B&B and are they different than other mimics? Because mimics probably wouldn't normally be doing that, of course. And so I would kind of play through a bunch of those things in my head, which sometimes the Goblin flyer was like, oh, okay. It was pretty easy to kind of put that one together and think about what I would do, but I don't know. Remimic, I'd need to do more research. So, but I enjoy doing research. Lie there in bed, my iPad.
It'd probably be. I could just picture if it's only barely literate that everything is spelled incorrectly, real B&B.
Yeah, that's actually one. So initially I was thinking about the Goblin one. What I would do is have more misspellings, and then also have things like sometimes when I do a doc to make it look more handwritten, I'll have things where it looks like it's crossed out and then a correction is made. Because of course it's not all done on a word processor, so someone who makes a mistake on a piece of vellum or whatever has to actually correct the mistake there, so you'll see the mistakes. And so I was thinking about doing that with the Goblin one, but I'm like, well, actually it's woodblock, and so they're not going to hand correct it on each of the woodblock prints, so I didn't end up doing there. But it works pretty well. Something that I really love about the Beetle and Grimm stuff is some of the paper ephemera that comes in there. They really kind of capture some of those aspects. There was in the Saltmarsh one, they had one that had this great water damage to it, and the paper was all wrinkled, and it's exactly the kind of stuff that I really love. So,
and it's just a few minutes too, so it's time for us to call it quits.
There we go.
Looks like the last of our loot giveaways has occurred.
Has it done?
And then the player must have sworn or something in chat right as they got it. So they got banned by the chat immediately.
No,
because the bot automatically did that. So sorry about that. You still won. So as long as the CNE Games account can PM you. And you can exchange information. You can still get your prize. And that kind of brings us to the end.
There you go.
So, this has been our 100th episode, Thursday, November 7th, 2019. Thank you guys for joining us and for participating in the community, in the Idle Champions community, in the D&D community. You guys are awesome. This show exists because of a whole bunch of people. Behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. On the end at D&D, we have Greg, Bart, Pelham, Allison, Shawling, and Lisa, who we interact with pretty regularly to make sure that these things happen, as well as my co-producer, Erica, who is there to moderate chat and make sure things run the giveaways. Finally, thanks to Chris, David, and Eric for joining me today on stream.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I was just going to say, and thanks to all the folks who've given the game so much love, all the fans of the game. I mean, I don't frequently chat about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of other people who do that, with the exception of cons and things. But I actually read far more posts and stuff like that, and I love kind of seeing the enthusiasm that people bring to the game. It really reminds you why you're doing what you're doing. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.